The plan for today's video is to cook meat in vegan restaurants. My first time trying the vegan stuff.
Yeah. You chose counterculture for your first vegan experience?
Exactly. I want you guys to take my virginity. I hope he doesn't take it personal. It's just a prank, bro. It's just a prank. Ah! Can you plug that in for me? Appreciate you.
What are you doing with the George Foreman grill?
Oh, I'm just gonna like cook up my stuff real quick.
That's not gonna work. I can't let you do that.
Why not?
It's not something we're gonna allow today.
Hey, what is up, guys? So today I want to talk about JiDion. He's the guy who ended up pranking the vegan restaurant and decided to cook up some rotting flesh of innocent beings who were murdered as a kind of joke. So long story short, David Rams ended up making a response to this. JiDion saw it. They ended up doing a live stream, and then he ended up pranking David Rams by cooking quote unquote real meat, and then come to find out he was actually using impossible meat. So he ended up pranking David, which in my opinion was actually pretty funny. And at a certain point, they kind of got into it and had a little bit of a debate. And he ended up bringing up religion and God as a sort of justifier for paying for innocent animals to be murdered. So I wanted to take this opportunity to just kind of respond to what he's saying, and also use this opportunity to go over, how you should respond to people who end up using religion to justify not being vegan. So let's look at some of the things that JiDion was actually saying when trying to defend not being vegan.
Are you not for it because you're vegan? Are you not for it? Are you not for it because it goes against your cause? Or are you not for it because in all morality is wrong? Because at the end of the day, who's to say our moralities are right or not? Who's to say your viewpoint's right, and who's to say my viewpoint's right? I believe my viewpoint. You believe your viewpoint.
Sure. For me, it's not. I'm not protesting. I'm not against it for myself. It's not about me and what I believe. Like I'm not trying to impose my beliefs on you in this way. I'm just trying to I'm trying to get people to consider the real victims at the bottom of all of this, and that's those animals that are in that slaughterhouse, right? And if someone's protesting for them to be killed, I will always stand up and say, hey, come on, like they're sentient beings, they have feelings, they have emotions, they have families. We can get plant-based alternatives, we can get vegan alternatives. Why don't we just do that? Like, it's not about my beliefs, and it's about the objective truth that they don't need to die, right?
Now I'm gonna go. Now this is another rebuttal. Well, what's your viewpoint on religion?
I'm agnostic. I'd say not atheist, agnostic. Yeah.
Okay. So me personally, I believe in the Bible. And in the Bible, you every Passover you're supposed to sacrifice a lamb, or not sacrifice, but you have to kill a lamb for the Most High and everything like that. So by your logic, I have to go against my religion.
No, man, because you've got to consider the Bible's written thousands of years ago. It was based on things that were accurate then. So sacrificing a lamb back then would have been very, very.
But you see, now you're saying that my religion is out of the. Like,
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying we've got to like modernize some things to do with religion. I mean, the Bible justifies slavery. You know that, right? It says that you can have slaves, but we don't do that now because we modernized the Bible. We realized that was written for a time that was thousands of years ago. Same thing with sacrificing a lamb. That was done because it was a massive sacrifice to sacrifice an animal back then, because animals were so valuable. Today, they're not valuable anymore. Sacrifice something that means something to you instead. Something that actually is important.
But it doesn't say that in the Bible, though. Like, that's what.
I get it.
I'm not taking away from what you're saying, but all I'm saying is, if I was to go with your view, like, would you tell a Muslim to eat pork? Would you say, bro, it's outdated now? You can eat everybody. Pork is
man. But I would say that
you're telling me I can't do.
No, I'm not telling you you can't. I'm not telling you you can't do anything.
To an extent, you are though.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that like there are things in these books that we don't do now, right? We can't pick and choose, right? So if you're saying I'm going to go buy the book and I'm going to cook lamb, a Passover, then you should also say I also think slavery is fine because the Bible says that too.
So before going into the religious arguments he was making, I want to go over how he was saying like, yo, David, this is what you believe, and then this is what I believe. This is a very common talking point that meat eaters will use to kind of like make the conversation turn into this whole like, we have to agree to disagree at this point because you're just imposing your beliefs, I'm imposing my beliefs. So when someone says this, I mean, it's certainly true that, you can come to this conclusion after a series of dialogue, but more often than not, at least in my experience, it is people saying this as a cop-out and a way to not really engage in the conversation. Like when people say this to me, I'm like, wait, hold on. Let's actually see if what I'm saying is out of touch with what you believe in. And then this is where I would bring in what I'm about to go into now, which is the religious rebuttal. So when JiDion is trying to make this very simple and say like, oh, listen, you know, you believe in this, I believe in that. At this point, I would, you know, be like, listen, dude, like, let's see if this is actually true, that this is just a matter of differential belief. So I left a comment on his video that I'm just gonna read real quick that really summarizes the way in which I approach people who use religion to justify not being vegan. So I said, you know, as a good friend of David Rams and a fellow extremist, insane vegan activist, I will say that was a good ass prank, LMAO. But JiDion, referring to the mini debate you had with David, I have to say that the problem with appealing to religion to justify the mistreatment of others is that your religion could theoretically say anything. If, quote, God says it's fine, end quote, is the justification being used to mistreat animals, what logically follows from this is you accepting anything God says as moral. So if God came out tomorrow and was like, kicking dogs is all good, you'd have to accept that. This kind of position also puts you in no position to argue against other people from other religions justifying violence with their religion, because that's exactly what you're doing. Unsure if this is a position you want to hold, bro, LOL. So yeah, guys, I mean, most people that are coming from a religious perspective are really coming from this whole like, my religion says it's fine, therefore it's fine. And this is such a bad way to, you know, operate morally, because in theory, your religion can really just say anything. So JiDion, I don't know if you'll see this video, but I would just ask you, you know, are you saying that it's okay to kill animals because your religion says it's fine? Because if that's the case, what is fine is determined by whether your religion says it's fine. So if your religion says that something else is fine, I mean, what are you gonna do? Are you just gonna sit there and be like, yeah, I guess it's fine. Like, what if that something is just like, I don't know, murdering left-handed people? Like, what if tomorrow we found some sacred documents that were uncovered, that have been here for thousands of years, that were, you know, God just saying that murdering left-handed people is just all good, dude? Like, would you be here like, okay, I guess, well, murdering left-handed people is all good? No, you wouldn't, because you understand that that is not very reasonable. And David Rams made a really good point about how the Bible justifies slavery in certain contexts. So that's a very real-life example outside of these hypotheticals I'm coming up with to illustrate this reasoning I'm putting forth. Now, I've seen some vegan activists who are Christian go over some biblical routes you can take that actually bring you toward veganism, or kind of imply that God would rather you be vegan than not be vegan. But I don't like to take these routes because it gets into the whole, you know, territory of interpretation of the Bible. And as we know with religion, it's something that is very subject to interpretation. So instead, I like to just take the whole like logic route and be like, listen, dude, if this is your reasoning, this reasoning also means that you'd have to accept X, Y, and Z in case this were to happen. It's the equivalent of someone saying like, this is moral because my mom said that it's okay. So if your mom says go and murder everybody, that's totally okay? Like, obviously not. So next time you come across a person like JiDion who uses their religious beliefs to justify the mistreatment of others, just send them this video or use the kind of argument I'm using here. Oh, and one more thing. A lot of times when I use this line of questioning on religious people, they'll end up responding saying like, well, God never said that it's okay to kill left-handed people, etc. Now, to answer in this way is to not really understand the point of my question. My question is part of a logical consistency test. I'm just seeing if this person accepts the logical extension of God says it's right, therefore it's right though. And if they don't accept it, then they're being inconsistent. All right, guys, that is the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.
Dude, even vegans don't get your weird, stupid wannabe sense of irony here. Who's your audience? Nobody gets these dumb jokes. Dude, even vegans don't get your weird, stupid